In this session, we will look at how to incorporate sources into your writing. We know that almost all research paper writing starts from finding relevant materials that inform the researcher of the related theories or the findings that other researchers have made on the topic. As a writer, while you are collecting the relevant materials, you will also be concerned with how you will make use of the materials that you find useful for your writing. In other words, you need to decide on the specific content you want to use and incorporate it into your writing in one way or another. There are several steps involved here. You need to select key points and then take notes. Oftentimes, you may also need to combine materials from different sources. To incorporate sources, the first step you can take is to select key points. We know that in order to prove a point, authors will normally provide a series of reasons. These reasons may be facts or statistics, theories or testimonies from authorities. In the reasoning process, some of the materials are used to support the main argument, while others are simply details or examples that contribute to the facts or theories. In other words, authors will include both key and minor points in their writing. As a reader who intends to find the materials for your own writing, it is important for you to realize the difference between the key and minor points in the text you are working with and concentrate on the key points rather than the minor ones. Now let's have an example. Suppose you are working on the topic of artificial intelligence, or AI for short. We know that AI has been around for quite some time and is influencing our life in many aspects. But what is AI, and why has so much energy been devoted to the development of AI? Here's one paragraph that addresses these questions. Artificial intelligence is the blend of three advanced technologies: machine learning, natural language processing, and cognitive computing. The concept of artificial intelligence is to simulate the intelligence of humans into artificial machines with the help of sophisticated machine learning and natural language processing algorithms. The prime motive for the idea of transferring the intelligence from humans to machines is to overcome the very barrier of human intelligence: scalability. There's always a limit to the speed with which humans can perform the given tasks. Artificial intelligence looks to overcome this very challenge with human intelligence by transferring the human intelligence to cognitive machines with supreme computational capabilities. The first two sentences give us a definition of AI. First, we learn that there are three branches of technology that work together to make up AI. And then we learn the basic working principle of AI, which is the simulation of human intelligence into artificial machines. The next three sentences talk about the prime motive of AI. Sentence 3 points out the barrier of human intelligence that AI wants to overcome, while sentences 4 and 5 provide the details about the barrier and how AI can overcome it. By focusing on the key points, you can not only have a better understanding of the text, but also note down the important points that you will make use of when you are doing your own writing. The second step you can take is taking notes. During your first reading of a text, you have noted down the key points, probably, by underlining certain sentences or phrases. But your main purpose is to incorporate the relevant content into your own writing. To facilitate this process, you need to keep a record of what you need for later reference. Skilled writers often do so by taking notes while they are reading. By taking notes, I mean that writers can use verbal and non-verbal forms, such as phrases, lines, arrows, or other graphic symbols to express meanings and semantic relations that are normally expressed in more complex sentences or paragraphs. Now let me show you how readers take notes using these forms mentioned above. Suppose you are writing an essay on animal migration. You find the following article from the website lifescience.com, published on November the 4th, 2010. The author is Wayne Perry. Take notes while you read the article. Why do animals migrate? Birds do it. Fish do it. Mammals, insects, and reptiles do it. Migrate, that is. Migration is nearly universal within the animal kingdom. In fact, even sponge and jellyfish larvae make use of that defining animal trait, mobility, to adapt to imperfect habitats. Animals across the globe fly, swim, walk, or drift in their effort to find food, a more hospitable climate, or places to breed. These primal drives lead to arduous and often treacherous treks, some spanning thousands of miles. Humpback whales top the list of lengthy mammal migrators, traveling as much as 5,000 miles or 8,047 kilometers one way. One generation of monarch butterflies flutters some 2,000 miles or 3,219 kilometers between southern Canada and central Mexico. A shorebird called the bar-tailed godwit holds the record for the longest non-stop flights, 6,835 miles, or 11,000 kilometers in 8 days. Then there are the enormous efforts a salmon displays to reach its breeding grounds, only to die there. The 3-mile or 5-kilometer crawl through numerous obstacles undertaken by red crabs on Christmas Islands. The 300-mile loop taken by zebras and wild beasts in Africa, following seasonal rains and many more. So why do they do it? Migration is driven by a simple fact. Resources on Earth fluctuate. Warm summer months may be followed by inhospitable cold. Plants or other meals may be abundant, but only for a short time. The best place to give birth or hatch young may not be a good place to find food. And why not fly a shorter, simpler journey or stop altogether? The simple answer is that the benefits of long-distance migration outweigh its cost and the benefits of shorter distances. Hugh Dingle, a professor emeritus at the University of California, Davis, told Life's Little Mysteries. There is incredible diversity in animal migrations, and while science has pinned down certain aspects, much about them remains a mystery. When taking notes, it is important, first of all, to note down the information about the author and publication. Because when you cite the content in your writing, you need to include this information both in the text and in the list of references which you need to provide at the end of your writing. At the beginning of the text, the author mainly introduces the fact that almost all animals migrate for different reasons. Therefore, you can put down these phrases: animal migration, nearly universal, for food, climate, breeding. In the following part of the text, the author gives examples of animal species that either travel long distances or make great efforts during their migration. For these notes, you can use 5K instead of 5,000 and use the abbreviated form ML for mile. At the end of the text, when the author talks about the reasons for animals to travel long distances, you can use a right arrow to mean outweigh. So you can see that writers can use very few words to cover a lot of content from a text. As was mentioned when I was talking about note-taking, we should never fail to include the source information of the cited content. If an idea is taken from other people, you should always give credit to them. If you do so, it not only shows your respect for the original author or authors, but also adds to the credibility and power of your argument. Second, you should master a few techniques to introduce the cited content. You can use verbs like show, argue, prove, or demonstrate, or phrases like according to, in the study, to introduce your citations. Third, since you will be working with different sources in one essay or one paragraph, you need to have specific verbal means to connect citations from different authors. You need to inform your readers how the sources are related to each other. Are they of equal importance? Are they in parallel? Is there any contrast between them? Are they in agreement or disagreement? Now read the following paragraph from the paper Factors Affecting Student Nurses' Willingness to Care for Patients with HIV/AIDS, and see how different sources are incorporated into the text. While reading, ask yourself, how many sources are cited? How are the sources cited and introduced? How does the author indicate the relationship among the different sources? You can pause the video to allow you more time to read the paragraph. From the paragraph, we can see that two studies by two different authors are cited. The author conducted a study, and the study found to introduce the result from the first research, and the verb showed for the second research. There are two findings in the second research, one similar to the Pete 2002 research, and the other being the opposite. All this information is clearly given in the text. In this session, we have learned that When we are reading for the purpose of writing, we need to focus on the key points and learn the techniques of note-taking. In the actual process of writing, we need to make sure that we give credit to the original authors if we borrow their ideas in our writing, and organize the materials in a way that clearly shows which ideas are our own, which are borrowed from others, and how all the materials are related to each other. Thank you for your attention.